Redmond is not for everyone. If you're allergic to tech culture, want cheaper housing, or sun 300 days a year, this place may not be for you. But the truth is, Redmond's awesome. I grew up here 2 miles down the street. Today we're gonna go through all things Redmond. We're gonna talk about the restaurants, the culture, the housing, the walkability, all things that I know. And actually, this used to be like just a dirt road down here in Redmond, and how it's changed. Let's talk about that today. Most people think Redmond's all about Microsoft, but it's really not. Some people think it's Seattle's little stepbrother or stepsister, but it's a heck of a lot more than that. There's 86,000 people that live in Redmond now, and location-wise, we're right on the north end of Lake Sammamish and right bordering Bellevue. There is so much to do here, and there's two major shopping areas. You've got Redmond Town Center right down the street from here, and Overlake where I had my first job. And if you live here, you can live in apartments and condos, and like I said, I grew up right up the street from here, right next to Marymore Park, in a family-friendly cul-de-sac. There is so much to do here. You're gonna learn a lot about Redmond. Okay, I want to talk about two things. Who lives here and the types of jobs. Who lives here? I mean, really, it's kind of a melting pot of everyone, especially if you're in tech. So we're on Microsoft's campus here. It might look like a mall, an outdoor mall, but it's actually Microsoft's campus. So you get a lot of tech workers, people that are really free and open-minded and want community and great schools. It's just a fantastic place to grow up. And again, if you don't want a big commute and you're driving around and you work at Microsoft or some of these other companies that I'm gonna talk about, it's a fantastic place to live. Now let's talk about jobs. Obviously, this is the big one, Microsoft. When I was a kid, no joke, this whole area was like a big dirt field, and I would ride my bike through here back in 1984, 1985, and it has transformed like I cannot even believe. But Microsoft's the big one. They have 40,000 employees right here in Redmond. Then we've got Nintendo, which is awesome. When I was a kid, I haven't been there for years, you could take your kids in there. My parents would take me in there, and they've got the video games for you to try out and play, and if you've got a friend there, you can get a discount on them. And then there's Meta. Meta has their headquarters, obviously in California, but they make their VR headsets here right off Willows in Redmond. So there's massive technology opportunities here if you work here, but in general, it's a great community. People love it here, and the jobs are fantastic. Here's the thing most videos miss about Redmond. It's really expensive. And when I mean expensive, it's about 40 to 45% more expensive than the national average. So what does that actually mean for you? So look around here. I mean, literally look around here. Look at all the housing. Let's just talk about renting for a second, because all of these apartments around here are brand new over the last decade. So if you're planning on renting first, which a lot of people do when they're moving to Redmond, because they may be working at Microsoft, they may actually be looking for another job nearby, but in general, it costs about $1,900 to $4,000 per month to rent. So if you're gonna rent a house, you're looking at least $4,000. But if you're looking for a studio apartment, it's around $1,900. A one-bedroom apartment will rent for about $2,300. A two-bedroom apartment is around $3,000. And a three-bedroom apartment is at least $3,500 per month. So yes, you're paying a premium to be here, but the trade-off is the job market, the schools, the safety, the lifestyle that we've been talking about. I just want to be clear, so before you come out here, you know what to expect. I know I said coffee, but I'm on a matcha kick, so we're gonna do matcha instead. Let's talk neighborhoods. So Redmond's broken into a handful of different neighborhoods. I'm gonna go through them all, but today we're gonna start right here in downtown Redmond. Downtown Redmond, as you can see, is mostly apartments and condos and some townhomes. If you want the walkability and the parks and almost like, it's not New York, but that small city feel, this area is going to be great for you. It's not super expensive, like the apartments to rent might be $2,000 or $3,000, but if you're going to buy a townhouse, you're probably around $1 million to $1.5 million, depending on its location. But downtown Redmond, again, if you want the walkability, this is the place for you. The next neighborhood I want to talk about is Education Hill. And Education Hill is that classic, we moved here for the community and the schools. Education Hill is just a little bit north. It's got like these tree-lined streets and parks and a great neighborhood feel. The schools, like I mentioned, are a huge part of it, but if you're in parts of Education Hill, you can see the mountains and Lake Sammamish, and you see kids riding around on their bikes all the time after school. Price-wise, it starts in the low ones and up to $2 million, depending on the size, remodels, and if it has any views. But if you're picturing a cul-de-sac and being a few minutes from Marymore Park and some views, this might be where you end up. The next neighborhood I want to talk about is Willows and kind of Rose Hill. And if you know me, I actually live in Rose Hill in Kirkland, but it borders Redmond. So part of Rose Hill is in Redmond. This area is a real mix of established mid-century homes, newer construction. Some pockets even have views. It's super convenient if we're talking about the innovation triangle of Redmond, Kirkland, and Bellevue. It's got all the great tech jobs, and it's got that old Eastside feel. I've lived up and down Willows, Rose Hill for many, many years. It's big trees, quiet streets, and not overly master planned. In general, the homes are pretty mixed, typically run about $1 million up to $2 million. For a lot of buyers, this is the sweet spot because they want to be specifically in this location with all the tech jobs. So if you move a little bit southeast, you're gonna run right into Bear Creek and Avondale. This is where you're gonna see a lot more townhomes. Less single family homes, but you're right off the main street, which is called Avondale Road. And they've got the townhomes. They've got a ton of big box retailers, Kohl's and Target and Home Depot. For a lot of families, this is where you wanna be because it's a little bit less expensive, about $700,000 up to $1.5 million. But you've got great access to these big box retailers. Oh, I forgot to mention Costco. It's right there for you. Right on the water in Redmond. It's gonna feel like you're cheating, like a cheat code in a video game. We're gonna talk about Marymoor and Idlewood. Let's really dive into Marymoor. Marymoor is incredible. It's right near Lake Sammamish. It's on 640 acres. In general, you get a mix of older homes, remodels, some slightly higher end. And my family, where I grew up, is kind of right in this area of Marymoor, Idlewood, and Overlake, which I'll get to in a second. It's got a really soft place in my heart because if you want to get to the park, and there's so much to do, is the perfect place for you if you're outdoorsy. Now let's talk about Overlake. Now this place is in my heart. It's where I had my first job at the Safeway stacking apples in the produce section, and it has changed dramatically. You know, God, when I think about it, there was a Sears there forever, and now it's turning into this mixed use, office space, apartments, townhomes, condos. I mean, realistically, if you want that kind of modern apartment, you want to walk to work, and price-wise, you'll see condos and townhomes starting in the 600s up to about $1 million. This could be the perfect area for you. Now let's talk about the Microsoft neighborhood. Now this is really where I grew up. I remember, so Microsoft is massive campus, right? Worth billions and billions of dollars. And I used to ride my little dirt bike through that campus before any buildings were there. And now it has transformed completely. My mom still lives in the same house we moved into in 1985. The value's gone up dramatically, as you can imagine. I think she bought the house in 1985 for $100,000, and now it's worth probably close to $2 million just because of the location. And the homes in general, you get a lot of split level homes, older homes built in the 60s and the 70s, but now these builders are coming in, tearing down these older homes, building these massive homes that are $3 or $4 million. But if you want a beautiful home with either a bike ride to Microsoft or just a quick drive to Microsoft, that Microsoft neighborhood is for you. Now let's talk about Grasslawn, and this sits really close to the Kirkland border. And it's really one of those sneaky good spots. It's got an incredible park. And don't get me wrong, it's not as big as Marymoor, but Grasslawn is awesome with tennis courts and softball fields and playgrounds. It's got great schools and easy access to the freeway. It's straightforward, family friendly, and it doesn't scream like, look at me, like some of the fancy neighborhoods do. In general, the Grasslawn neighborhood, you're gonna find, again, some of these older mid-century homes. Some of them might be built in the 60s and the 70s, but they're tearing those down, so you could get into Grasslawn for probably a little over $1 million. But again, if you find one of these big, huge mega mansions, they might be upwards of $3 million. Lastly, let's talk about the Sammamish Valley and Redmond Ridge. The Sammamish Valley is one of those areas where, like, if you want acreage, and it's not walkable, don't get me wrong, but big areas and you want privacy, that's the area for you. Now, Redmond Ridge is totally different. It's one of the few communities almost anywhere on the east side in the Seattle area, if you're 55 and older, that is really awesome. It's got thousands of homes. It's got a golf course. It's got a community center. It's got single family homes. It's got duplexes. It's a great area if you're 55 and over, and you can get in there for, I'd probably say, around $900,000. So if you have kids, schools is probably the #1 reason you're even watching this video. So Lake Washington serves Redmond, right? So Lake Washington School District. Redmond High School right behind me. This is where my brother went, because the boundaries change once in a while. We always understand that. Lake Washington School District is consistently in the top 1 or 2% of all schools in Washington State. So you're in really good hands. The schools here is great. But if you end up getting into the lottery system, there's one school that's amazing. The #1 school in the whole state consistently is the Nikola Tesla STEM school. Yes, like Tesla the car, it's named after the same person, but it is the #1 school in the state. And if your kids get into that, it's like hands down, you have to go there. But in general, the Lake Washington School District is great. There are parts of Redmond that feed into the North Shore School District, which is also fantastic. But most people that are moving to Redmond are moving here for the schools, for either Tesla or Redmond High School. Now let's talk about how you get around here. The upside. So if you work at Meta, Microsoft, even Nintendo's around here, and you live around here, you don't have anything to worry about. But if you don't, check this out. So this is the light rail system. So I've lived here since 1984, and they've been talking about this since then, and it's basically our train system. So you could take this into Bellevue all the way into Seattle, and it's super easy to get around. So even if you work downtown Seattle or Bellevue and you don't want to drive around yourself, this is great. Now the downside, let's talk 520, as these are highways, and Highway 405. They are both a pain in the butt. So 520 is almost right behind here. So if you are driving yourself and you're going across Lake Washington, you are gonna pay a toll and you're gonna take 520. But if you are commuting anywhere else, so if you're commuting towards the airport or even north, you're gonna end up taking 405, which is, I think, statistically one of the worst and congested freeways in the whole country. I don't wanna scare you because this, the light rail, makes it all easy. Now, I can't talk about Redmond without talking about the outdoors life. It's everything. It's not just like what people do, it's actually part of their daily life. And Redmond, Washington is the bicycle capital of the Pacific Northwest. I don't even know what that means, but I've seen that sign 100 times driving by it. But so we're at Merriamore Park. Merriamore Park is massive, and you're only seeing part of it here. So Merriamore Park is over 640 acres. And on weekends, this is really where you hang out. You're talking about when your kids are little, there's soccer fields. So you're talking about like 1,000 little kids playing soccer, ages 5 and up, and tennis courts. There's a velodrome where you ride your bike around. In the wintertime, they have Cirque du Soleil, so they have a big tent perched up. They have the biggest off-leash dog park in the whole state of Washington. It's like 40 acres. It's massive, it's fun, it's cool, but more than anything, there's so much to do. So Merriamore Park is massive. Grasslawn Park is just up the street here as well. So Grasslawn Park is in the Grasslawn neighborhood. It's got softball fields and a big playground for the kids and basketball courts and pickleball courts and all the stuff that you want to do outside. But more than anything, outdoors is a part of life here. And again, you're not too far if you've watched some of my other videos. If you're into skiing, Snoqualmie Pass is about 45 minutes away. There is so much to do. And on a day like this, who wouldn't want to be at the park? Redmond's food scene is completely underrated. Now here's a secret. The Matador right across the street here is one of my favorites. But even better, it's got a cheap date for you. You take their take and bake nachos home, and for like 13 bucks, it will feed the whole family. It is awesome. But right down the street also is Woodblock, so it's this kind of like trendy brunch, breakfast, lunch, dinner spot that everybody loves. But more importantly in Redmond, it's got almost everything. It's got this international cuisine kind of feel. It's got Thai food, Chinese food, and probably the best Indian food you'll find anywhere around town. All right, let's talk about money, specifically home prices. So this is actually the neighborhood that I grew up in, and it's nothing flashy, but the homes in this neighborhood, and you can see like right behind me, they're all built in, let's say the mid 70s, early 80s. They're about $1.5 million. So the average home price, this is probably a little bit above this because we're just really close to Microsoft. The average medium home price in the area is $1.4 million, which is down 1 to 2% from last year. I want to go through some quick price brands so you can get a good mental model about the prices in general. So downtown, the condos and townhomes are about $800 to $1.2 million. In Education Hill, the single family homes are about 1.3, and if you've got a view, it could be over $2 million. Willows and Rose Hill, very close to where I live, is between 1 and 2 million. Bear Creek and Avondale, somewhere between $700,000 for a townhome and $1.5 million for a home. And Redmond Ridge, where is that 55 and over community, is about $900,000 up to about $1.5 million. So it's really still a strong seller's market. Even though the market's a little bit weird, homes are selling in about 30 days, And certain homes in the right location, in the right condition, and priced right, sell very quickly. But we're not talking about a lot of multiple offers, except if you price it really low. But hopefully that gives you a really good understanding of what prices are like around Redmond. Real quick, I want to talk about crime and safety, because the biggest crime I've ever seen in Redmond just happened. My cameraman, Colby, just had his coffee stolen. Colby? Somebody just reached in, he had 5-shot espresso. He caught the guy. The guy was nice enough to come back and say, hey, it's your coffee. Colby gave it to him. He's being really nice. But in all honesty, there's not a lot of crime in Redmond. What you see really is probably property crime, not a lot of violent crimes at all. But I always tell my clients, you're gonna wanna look it up online. You can ask me for more detail, but look it up online, look at the stats. It's gonna really help a lot. But Redmond in general, very safe place. All right, now for the part that you don't always hear. Let's talk about some of the negatives of living in Redmond, Washington. The first, it's hard to say it on a day like this, is it's gray a lot. Not today, obviously, but if you can live in the grayness, it's not the blizzards you get on the East Coast, or the tornadoes, or the hurricanes, or the cold, but it's just gray and drizzly. So just know that. If you're gonna move here, don't think about the downpours you're gonna get that you see on the news, but it's just gray and drizzly. It's second, the traffic. So if you're living in Redmond and you're working in Redmond, good for you. You don't have to worry about it. But the truth is, if you're working in Bellevue or Kirkland, or Seattle or Renton, the traffic sucks. You're gonna deal with 405, 520, and if you're fortunate enough to take the light rail into either of those places, that's awesome for you. So just to be blunt, if you're allergic to the gray or to the rain, or you cannot stand traffic, or you've never been in traffic before, might not be for you. But the truth is, if you can get past all that stuff, Redmond is awesome. So why do people come here for a job and end up staying for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years? It's because of places like this. I know I'm on a baseball field, but this is where it all started for my family. We would come here every weekend. My brothers and I played Little League Baseball, and we made our friends here. We had a community here. We were here every single weekend, and people find different things why they stay in Redmond. Some of it's the parks that are awesome. Some of it's the jobs. It's definitely the community, but there are so many things, and Redmond's this like weird international melting pot. The food, the people, the cultures, what you do here, the people that you meet here. And again, it's so special. And I think if you come to Redmond and you live in Redmond, you're absolutely gonna love it. So if you're still watching, you're probably not casually browsing and you're serious about moving to Redmond. So if that sounds like you and you're thinking about Redmond and the schools and the community and the jobs and living in this area, it's probably for you. Shoot me a text, drop me an email. I'm always here for you. See you next week. You want all the stuff that you have